General advice, warning and disclaimer. Opinions, thoughts, research, recommendations and content presented are general advice only. They do not take into account your specific circumstances. Please consult a financial professional before making any investment decisions. For further information on our disclaimers and general advice, please see our website and our PDS. G'day and welcome to this week's edition of Bulls versus Bears.
Hello, everybody. Hi, guys.
So April
Has gone.
Would you believe the ASX 200 up 3% for the month?
Yeah, exactly. What was it down at its peak, at its lowest? Was it down 10, 11%?
No. We got down to 7,200. Remember, we rallied 1,000 points from the low.
Yeah.
And very strong today. So I think we're well through 8,200 now, aren't we?
Yeah. So 82.20 was the last I saw. So yeah, very strong.
Just led by record highs in three of the world's most boring stocks. CBA.
Yeah.
I think Wesfarmers. We just did some analysis and found out that CBA, Wesfarmers, and Coles are actually priced at more expensive than Meta, Microsoft, and Nvidia now.
Wow.
So on a PEG ratio, which is the price earnings to the forward growth, they are insanely overvalued. That actually reminds me. So ARB was like a market darling at the while, and I remember going on to Osby's going, so would you rather buy ARB at maybe 70 times earnings or Microsoft at 36? Yeah.
It's just like, okay.
No, it was.
And I remember Koshi going, "Oh, that's an interesting comparison there."
Yeah. And JB Hi-Fi as well, but they're not only expensive against themselves historically for the last 5 years, they're well beyond records against their own. I get why people want to buy stocks at a premium when they're the leader in the sector, but against themselves, they're 200 to 300% beyond wherever their highest valuations. But then against their direct peers in the sector, sometimes they're anywhere up to the PE is 35, the sector average is 9.
Mm-hmm.
The price to book ratio is 9 to 1 versus some of them are trading at a discount to assets.
Just kind of shows you the lack of places to go for the money go, rather. Where are you going to put it?
Well, I think everyone just scrambled for quality, and I don't think they probably went to the valuations page when they bought it. So. But yeah, we've had a pretty busy week in the media. The news agency that will remain nameless ignored that. Skype is moving to Teams warning.
So I've actually got a good story for that one. So for the guys watching, so I'm actually in Studio B there. So I got called in on Monday. So as you said, Skype has warned everyone that there's going to
5 months in big red letters at the top of the thing.
And the thing is, they knew about it. Problem is their hardware wasn't compatible. Oh. So it was actually more.
Thank God we got out of Ordinate. It's all Ordinate.
Exactly. Right.
So if they can't use it, Ordinate's in trouble, surely.
Yeah. So that's all it was. Because I was having a chat to Andrew afterwards, and he's like, "Yeah, I think we've known for a while, but." Here we are. And this was later on in the week when they were still having trouble. Well, they said basically it was just a hardware compatibility problem. So
yeah, right. So it might be those bird dog cameras or whatever, but
could be something like that. But either way, so that's why I was in Studio 2 and we had to pretty much pre-record it. And
I've done 3 in Studio 2 this week. So you got to be. One of them, I was wearing jeans, and I'm like, it's a bad day to not wear a suit. So, so we've done a little bit there this week. I did the investment committee yesterday for Osby's, my regular super sub. Usually one person can't do it every 2 months, so I get to snipe in from the sidelines, cause chaos, and just not come back for a few months. Highly recommend you watch it because Nathan Somandaram and Henry Jennings are usually separated by Skype. They were sitting next to each other yesterday, and it was nearly a nerd punch on. They were so, and I very much just enjoyed siding with one, and then just abandoning that person and siding with the other. It was because all I wanted to do was go back to cash, and I think we did go back to cash.
Where are they opposites in terms of opinions?
Well, then there's everything, and then if you go 1% aside from everything, that's pretty much it. Like, I think they just enjoy disagreeing with each other. Like, Mathan very much likes to be a contrarian, but Henry just goes, "Oh, that's crap," like, you know. So yeah, and then there was a very controversial trim of one stock that had been in that investment committee portfolio for 18 months, and I think Mathan nearly had a stroke actually. Finally working. Pretty entertaining, actually. Very, it certainly helped. I'd come from lunch. It was very funny. But, main story for this week, Trump's 100 days, the 100 days of chaos.
Yeah.
Or the 100 days of WrestleMania, as we're calling it
Well,
now.
that actual conference that he had, like
that rally was out of the WWE playbook.
And I think I watched a little bit of it. He's like, I think he misses that. He's like, oh, this is like the campaign again. Like, he hasn't
he said that at the start. So, I've kind of worked, because I've got to listen to him every morning because I get in early. He has a press conference every day. And it's been good, and it really helped me try to pick the patterns of where he's steering, just with his behaviour more than anything else. But that rally, I just sat there and went, I'm going to ignore that none of it's true, and that, like,
don't let facts get in the way, basically.
Don't let facts get in the way. I'm going to treat this like wrestling. Basically, I know it's fake. I'm just going to enjoy the show. I've got to say, so impressive.
Yeah.
Like, it was like he had that crowd just eating out of his hand. Like, it was, and every time Biden's name was mentioned, boo! It was like, he blamed stuff. Like, I reckon he blamed Biden for one of his divorces, just about, like, and everyone's like, ah! It was, and that's where I came. The feature image is of him in the WWE, because this is Dana White's.
Yeah. The bit that I love was when he was like, "We stopped 99.99% of illegal immigrants." Yeah. And he's like, "You let 3 through. What'd you do, mate?"
Yeah, he goes, "You let 3 through." He goes, "You're in trouble for letting 3 through," and he told me they were sick. They needed medical attention. It's the only reason we let them through. So look, I mean, we can laugh because we've had a pretty good month.
It's entertainment. It's great.
Yes, I would imagine that anyone who's found their superannuation login on April the 10th has probably not had the greatest of months. But them's the breaks, I suppose. So we 3 companies this week. 3 kind of favourites. One we've been buying, WiseTech, for good reasons. Not so no one's left or there's no HR issues. We're back to business now, so they're looking at buying a supply chain platform, E2 Open, for $3.5 billion.
Okay.
So not small, because they're about 17 or 18 billion. Actually, after yesterday, probably nearly got to 19 billion. They're up about 7%. Look, I think that's just going to help the stock overall. Just, it's the first news story about WiseTech that hasn't been about Richard White for ages. So I think it'll be even I'm starting to forget.
Yeah.
And we did buy a lot of it. So
the thing is, I had it on the call on Monday, and Mark, look, he's got a very specific criteria on the stocks that he looks for, and surprisingly, that was one of them. Like, he just said, like, it's been beaten down, but he's looking at future prospects for it and the market share, and he just said that he was quite bullish. I'm like, okay, fair enough. I was bullish as well, because obviously that's our positioning.
But I mean, it's back at 97. We were buying at 80.
Yeah.
So I think some lucky punter, the first person who picked up the phone may have gotten something. It was like 75s. By the time the second person called, I think I had to pay 80.
Yeah.
It bounced pretty quickly.
I mean, we did something through structured products as well. So
we did, yeah. No, that was more fixed coupon. But that just, basically, you'd have to get to $35 for that for that to be in trouble. That's why we used that one. But Judo Bank, kind of a little bit what we were talking about before, the CBA thing, right? It's just trading this gigantic premium. So Judo Bank's, albeit ham-fistedly, they've gone and done a UBS investor presentation. They basically let slip their guidance. Then they've had to halt, and then they've had to release their guidance officially. But it was like it's basically in line with what CBA. It's in line with what all the banks are saying. Stock down 20%, and down again today. So, but same sector, better metrics than CBA. Obviously not to scale, but I would have thought it's got more growth prospects. Obviously, and one's trading at a record high, one's down 40%, and both CEOs have the same almost. Well, we're not verbatim, but they reduced their guidance by the tiniest bits, from 12.9 to 12.8 billion or something, and said that the economy's, usual crap about the economy could be slowing and blah blah blah, which is what Matt Common said, and exactly. It's a tale of two cities. So I think actually I was looking at it today. I don't think there's any reason to necessarily buy it, but there's bank earnings next week supposedly. In Australia, so it might be a bit of a recovery because it's kind of one of the sort of thing that will be, in 5 years' time, we'll have the CBA problem. People won't want to sell it because they don't realise the capital gains, I would have thought. So it's a pretty simple business. Yeah. It's hard to get a banking licence. So, and ResMed, solid earnings last week, very good with the media, although we're not going to do Cramer of the Week this week. But just a warning to all the punters out there who really like ResMed, he did get interviewed by Jim Cramer this week, and I have concerns.
Okay.
So because I believe that Jim shook hands with Jensen about 2 days before the market crapped itself, and Nvidia has not recovered. So
bad juju.
Yeah. So just be careful of the old creeping death is all I'll say to Mick Farrell. So. But they're killing it. Basically, they're every metric going in the right direction. So, US stuff. We've had Mag 7. So obviously, I'm just gonna give myself a massive rap for being 7 from the last 7. Pretty sure there's no,
Eli Lilly. Oh, I'm just looking at the one red.
The 3 that are red. Macca's was down a little bit. Oh, sorry, McDonald's. I think they're sort of the defensive names, really. I think there's probably just a bit of money flow.
Fair enough, right? Rotating back from defensive.
I mean, there's no gold. There's no gold stocks, obviously, in the S&P 500, except for Newmont.
It is.
Yeah. It is the only S&P 500 gold stock. So that's pretty red patch in our market, particularly. But obviously, the usual suspects up. Apple, Apple's given that back, that 4% up. It dropped 3 or 4 this morning, and Amazon's given back 3 or 4 of it this morning as well. So, so our plan to, which we'll get to I think we've got an update on that trade of the week from last week, that LNAS. It literally hit our target price overnight and retraced. And then when we did think that Apple and Amazon would be disappointing, but they didn't really give much guide. Apple did not use the word tariff once in its whole presentation. So, which I think that's just the definition of putting your head in the sand, isn't it?
I think Amazon's an interesting one, though, right? Because, the core business model is all obviously products from China, but the net profitability, you're saying that.
90% of revenue is the online store, but 60% of the profitability, the net profitability, is AWS. And I didn't realize. I thought AWS and Azure and Google were kind of similar. Azure and Microsoft and Google combined don't equal what AWS's market share is.
Well,
I didn't realize they were that far ahead.
Yeah, because they started later, right? So I think Amazon was actually one of the first to actually take the cloud infrastructure and scale it. So a lot of legacy things on Amazon cloud.
Yeah, so Meta and Microsoft. I mean, the earnings calendar did us a favour because we thought Meta and Microsoft would do better, and they did, 6 and 8% up. And that gave us an opportunity to get out of LNAS yesterday. And it's 20 cents odd lower today, so it would be a few percent. So and we wouldn't have been up, even though it hit our target. We just sort of
you can't get out.
You can't get out overnight. So back to being a futures trader, I don't think so. So next week we got one of our faves, Palantir, on Monday. So we have launched Global Alpha. So similar to Alpha in a way, but we've got a recommendation for you at the end, which is Trade of the Week, which is the first Global Alpha rec. So young blokes with their short attention spans they're going to be train spotting in that. So
and the guys that can actually stay up overnight as well. Unlike myself, very hard to trade US hours these days for me.
Yeah, no, that's the reason I came to equity. It shuts at 4.
Not going back there.
Not going back there. But AMD will be interesting on Tuesday because NVIDIA is the last of the Mag 7 and it's not for another 3 or 4 weeks. And Novo Nordisk, which I'm sure someone said this before about this stock, but I think it was down 70% from its high at one stage this year. Surely the only way is up, but but we looked. It's on the short list. Maybe be a high conviction rec for global because its metrics are, obviously everything got carried away with the Wegovy is the one their GLP-1 drug. They did a deal with him and hers, which got their stock up 40% or something.
Oh wow! Okay.
Well, no, again, it was down about 80%.
Oh yeah.
So I think that it's probably. The GLP-1 drugs are going to be a reality, right? So, and it's actually cheap. So we might have a look at that. And the rest of them really, the fact that there's 3 companies on that calendar that I actually don't know what they do means that we're probably scraping the bottom of the barrel for market cap. Obviously BP.
So should we try and guess what Enbridge does?
Bridge.
Yeah, bridge engineers. I know what Coinbase does.
Maybe they're in charge of that collapsed bridge in Baltimore.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Plains All American Pipeline. I'm assuming it's gas pipeline. So that's it's a good logo. Kudos to the graphic designer there. But yeah, so and we've got Fed meeting next week as well. And look, I'm just going to acknowledge this. We've got an election in Australia. Just sum it up. More of the same. The end. Anyway, enjoy it. At least the text messages will stop that are pestering us. So
on YouTube, it is constant bombardment. Unbelievable.
The streaming channels.
Yeah.
So Binge and KO, they bought all the advertising. So last night I was watching something to do with the football. It played the same ad 5 times over, 30-second run. It just kept playing, and then the next ad break it was the same. Just kept going. So they just bought everything. Clive Palmer has sent out something like tens of millions of texts.
That's where all the tax money going, eh?
Well, Clive started Clive Coin as well, so that's got to be the end of meme coins, surely. He really does think he's Trump. So, and Bank of England next week as well, and then a few Fed speakers, but Payrolls tonight is the big one. So 138,000 and 4.2.
So, when are we expecting that negative number?
No one knows. So we did kind of think it'd be a few months delay. You would have to think, but it depends on the redundancy package they got. So if they got a 6-month redundancy package,
they don't count till.
Then it's 2 months after that.
Okay.
You're not allowed to be counted until you run 60 days unemployed. So the real unemployment rate's probably more like about 8% in the States. You don't go on it for 60 days, and then if you've been on it for more than 60 to 90 days, I think you get taken off it. It's a pretty But I suppose you don't get counted if you've got 2 jobs, I suppose.
Yeah.
Commodities.
Okay, so here we go.
I've made a little improvement for you, so I've at least got the numbers on there for you now.
Oh, nice. Okay, so gold, that actually broke down. I think it was yesterday. So there was a decent support level around the 3,300 level. It broke down there and it's at 3,230. I'm calling it down to 3,100, and then that's when I kind of want to buy it back in. So the main thing is that it's still the central banks are still buying, and they're diamond hands basically, or gold fingers, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
I think it just says central banker on their business card,
exactly. But either way, they're in it for the long term. So there will be support one day. I've actually got asked by a few people, what should I do? One thing I have noticed is that the gold miners, especially here in Australia, they're all finding support. There's none that have broken down.
Northern Star.
That's so funny, actually. I've been getting a lot of questions as well. It's like, should I buy gold? But it's all physical. All the people that I'm talking to, they're like, when should I buy gold? They want to go buy gold bars.
Yeah. The answer to the question is 12 months ago.
Yeah. But if they're buying physical, it means that they want to just have a store of value. So you just any time is fine. Yeah. That's the whole point of gold. It's a store of value. Yeah. If you're trying to time it like a trade, then you might want to do an ETF trade, type of thing. But
and Bitcoin as well. Yet again, the resilience is just.
So it's actually cracked to a 97 this week, and quite strong. So
that passive flow from the ETF it's a game changer, because last month that thing would have gone to 30,000.
Yeah.
If it was 20, it did in 2020, it got to 20,000.
Yeah.
And the bit was
looked like
risk assets.
Yeah, and looked terrible for a good year and a half, 2 years, and then suddenly
the price action was strong this time.
Yeah.
I think Trump has essentially escalated Bitcoin's standing as a proper asset class.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's moved that timeline forward by a decade.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think gold, gold's obviously the one that everyone leans on, but Bitcoin, I think I wouldn't have expected it to have this sort of legitimacy in 5 years.
Yeah.
And Trump's just harebrained everything. Is just everyone's genuinely looking at it now, and now a lot of countries as well who use places like Argentina. There's like a black market in US dollars and stuff. They're just all shifting to Bitcoin.
Well, can it be truly a reserve? Well, I was just thinking, I was like, wow, what if one day
I don't think central banks would like that. Surely.
No.
I mean, that's their job, is to control the money supply.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point of Bitcoin, is there to be no control over the money supply. But I think we're going to see Bitcoin firmly regarded as a proper asset class within a few years.
Yeah,
by the end of Trump's presidency.
So the history of Bitcoin, though, is that I think it's had maybe 5 cycles where it's fallen 80% from the highs.
Yeah.
So if it actually holds at this level, this will actually be a new type of cycle where we haven't seen an 80%.
And it'll be like BC and AD. It's like before ETFs and
exactly,
and after ETFs, basically, or before BlackRock.
Exactly. So silver disappointing, copper weak, uranium actually strong. That's actually bounced this week. So crude oil is the one that's interesting for me. I wrote that piece about
supply
chains and how long things, and crude oil is actually trading like there's an actual recession. So it actually broke down from 62.
I've seen a few people do oil to, oil prices to, growth stocks and stuff like that. And one of them's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, both of them are probably wrong. The middle's probably somewhere in the middle, but yeah, no.
So either way, crude's trading like we're going into recession. So that's an early recession indicator. That's what I found interesting. And US dollar, it's actually bounced back to 100. So that whole sell-off and sort of everyone was just, I remember a week and a half ago, everyone was just, with the US dollar at its lows, everyone was complaining not complaining, but everyone was thinking, are the days of the US dollar gone? And here we go, we're back up again. So that's the.
Oh no, I mean, I think it's just the calm before the storm. I mean, we're 100 days in and no one's talked about the debt yet.
Yeah.
So that's the genius of Trump. How the hell do you get 100 days through your presidency, and the national debt's grown by $1 trillion in interest in that 100 days? Not one person has mentioned it. Not one. I have not seen a single article about it. It clicked over 37 trillion.
Jesus. I didn't realize how quick. Well, I thought tariffs were supposed to be the solution to the problem, right? Like how much billions.
Doge is only they've saved $1 trillion. So maybe so we've already used up the Doge good job cut savings and everything, the efficiency savings. So all that US aid's already which that's the genius of Trump, I suppose. Elsewhere in the world, there's been other elections. Canada. There's a story about the South Korean thing is quite funny because, well, not funny, but the Supreme Court's one of the major candidate. The Supreme Court's deciding whether he's even eligible to stand in their mid-election, and then he'll be disqualified for 5 years. Korean politics is South Korean politics. It's like that's where they have the punch-ons in the parliament. Like it gets full on rowdy. Yeah, there's been like all-in brawls. So do us a favour. Go to YouTube and look up South Korean parliamentary. But there's just like a guy having a chat, and then one guy gets really insulted and just runs at him across the thing. It's really funny. It looks like a cartoon. But yeah,
and that's the leadership of the country.
Yes.
There you go.
Yep. Well, the leadership it's just Samsung really, but Ukraine apparently Trump solved Ukraine.
Okay.
Again. China did say that they've got that they've been in contact with the US. So that was mid morning. So I think that's why the commodities are up today. Other notable developments: political turmoil in Burkina Faso. I'm pretty sure that's just ongoing, and Panama as well. We just thought I just really felt like we needed to actually address more than just Trump in this because I don't think we've spoken about another country in about 6 episodes. So I just really made an effort there to try and make it.
I'm sure he's been on the front cover every single week for like the last 6 weeks. I don't think
last 100 days.
And because he just keeps giving me such great prompts to put in, like. My favourite is the plan where he's just scribbled on the board. That I think that one that'll be on the if we were to ever do a calendar of the AI images, that one's going to get the front cover, I reckon. So I'm just going to address this. By demand, we're addressing the previous ones as well, which we picked a good week. A good couple of weeks to do this. Clarity is back at $2.60, up 15% today. So hope you all held on to that. But this was the trade of the week last week that we did, and this was 2022, and this is 2025. The retest of the old high literally got ticked by almost basically just a point or 10 points or something last night. Happened and as you can see that overlay, Kai, just run you obviously that overlay, you run your finger down there, you probably can't see it, but it's within a day, basically, this pattern coming back, and to the exact same point. So what would be, if this is just going to keep following the same pattern, and we're not going to, obviously we said the other day, we're not going to abandon the plan until it stops working, I don't think.
Yeah.
But you've probably got 5 to 6 days of sideways, and then it'll start to grind lower.
Could it be non-farm that pushes it over
tonight?
Well, that's what we have tonight.
Oh no, but it'll be next week. But look, it's eerie how closely that's followed. So who knows? But we'll just but we took profit in LNAS. We got 18 or 19% in it was like 4 trading sessions because of the public holidays. And we trimmed some Goodmans up nearly 15%. Macquarie. Some people kept Macquarie.
Okay.
But we gave a list of what we wanted to trim, the stuff we bought. No one trimmed WiseTech. And I think, and another update, Capstone Copper, which was a disastrous alpha rec from myself. I put my hand up there. It had record production today. This rally was one of the better performers.
Nice.
So obviously we hadn't been giving out the stops previously, so which we're continue to improve. So yeah, that's that effectively is the plan. So supply chains and the economic numbers probably the next likely catalyst. So my general feeling is when the supply chain issues will be flatly ignored until a video goes viral of two people fighting over toilet paper or something, or a T-shirt or something that China definitely makes that they can't do themselves. That'll go viral, and then that will be when everyone goes, "Why are we running out of stuff?" And then But it won't be triggered by good journalism because there's 5,000 articles out there about how this is going to be a big problem. But you wait; it'll be a TikTok thing where someone gets clobbered, and then it'll be like, "What do you mean you can't get toilet paper?" And yeah, that'll be where it kicks off. So April 10th is when they stop the ships, right?
Yeah, so from the article I wrote, May 10th is when we could start to see some trouble.
So, well, but I mean, there could have been ships on the way and people were panicked, businesses were panic buying. So I reckon maybe give it 10 days after that, potentially.
Yeah. But either way, it should be sometime this month.
Yes, yeah. So, well, and still in May.
Yeah.
We've actually already done that. We did it on the 1st. So, and trade of the week this week is Spotify. So, and it's a shame that young Richie's not here, but he actually isn't taking a flexi day. He's got some family stuff happening. But the guys put this on, and I was very impressed with because earnings came out and it was soft on the day.
Mm-hmm.
And they went through the numbers and just basically said, "Well, that reaction's stupid. We think they've all beaten expectations." So they bought it market on open that night, and as you can see there, that green candle never traded lower again. So I actually, when I did the chart for them, I had buy below 580. I had the buy level much higher, but they did actually get. I think some people got like low 570s. So. Nice. And then just a trim zone, around the 20% mark, but they're tariff unaffected, basically. And there was, and their fundamentals are all very good here at the moment as well, and all the metrics going in the right direction. And it just was it's a ballsy call when even we do it all the time. Like you see a reaction and you go, surely that's not that bad, but it's still kind of scary to buy. But the guys did the work on it. And, so far so good. And, Palantir's been one that I wouldn't mind, again, we might get Richie to speak about that next week after the earnings, but that's one that's been going great guns for us.
Yeah. So I was having a chat to Richie about this, and basically if you have a look at the chart of Netflix, I just said, okay, so that could be following that. Netflix has actually broken out to new highs again.
Oh, yeah, that Netflix chart looks scary. Someone asked me to buy, because he spoke to someone about that, and they went, should we buy some? And I looked at the chart and I nearly got vertigo. I said I'd ask you, actually, because you're better with momentum.
Basically, Netflix has broken out to new highs and keeps going. I was thinking, okay, well, this is kind of like a similar pattern.
It is, yeah.
I believe they were talking about this W there. So if it breaks out to new highs, you got a good base there to go from. So easy to manage risk when...
I don't understand Netflix. Is it like... why is it breaking out to new highs?
Netflix?
Yeah.
Must be either subscriber numbers or...
Yeah, they locked down the security and stuff as well. So they've got organic growth from people who are just who have been sharing
and like they keep producing good TV shows.
They won a bunch of Golden Globes,
like Squid 2, Squid Games 2.
Right. Yeah.
Was
I've been running out of things to watch on Netflix.
Well, there you go. So you've
got too much spare time in your hands. That's your problem. Or just get Prime Video. But they're. And they're repurposing and redubbing a lot of those European-made things as well.
Yeah.
So that those bank robbery ones, where once you get through the first 10 minutes and you get over the dubbing, it's fine. You get over it. Squid Games was similar, right? So, so basically, it doesn't cost them much to. There's even I'm pretty sure they don't dub them, but they're buying Australian shows from the ABC and all that sort of thing. So. Keeping our national broadcaster alive.
Content is king, basically.
Content is king, yes. Bluey, Australia's best export after Paul Hogan back in the day. But Yeah, so having looked at that Netflix chart, I hadn't had that conversation with them, but that makes a lot of sense actually.
Mhm.
So probably, it's definitely only a trim zone at 20%.
Because 20% on American stocks is
could be tonight.
Yeah. Quite
that mind you, that chart's a day old too.
Yeah.
It could be halfway there. So we'll have a bit of a mix now, but we've got obviously Alpha, which I dare say is going to end up concentrating in, mainly the mining stocks, and then the global Alpha. If you want growth stocks, probably Australia's not, the ASX is not the place to go on a short-term basis.
Yeah, exactly.
And the resources will be back. They'll be back. I'm surprised that copper got back to $5. Then the next night it was at $4.60. So every time I'm convinced it's going to break, you just ring a bell because the copper goes back down again.
Then it just disappoints.
And silver as well.
Right, so
that pretty much. I know we've got fear and greed here. But back to neutral, 47.
Oh, neutral.
Now, this was one that safe haven demand has reduced so much. Stocks outperforming bonds, obviously being on the top. So the junk bond demand thing's still sitting in the green bit. But how quickly everyone abandoned safe haven, like super fast. So that's actually sort of, even though we're sticking to that plan with the that 15% retracement, that kind of tells me that we probably might grind higher again. So because everyone's just that short attention span, they just dumped it. Like they've just dumped. We all want a gold. Everyone wanted gold for like a week. And now they're like, get me an Nvidia again. But and their market momentum's improved, and improved quite a bit.
Yep.
And stock price strength it's not a very broad rally. So that's really, but there were put calls didn't really change much for some reason. There'd been the put call ratio was pretty flat for like 2 or 3 weeks, which I thought is really surprising. I would have thought there would be a fair bit of movement.
Yeah, exactly. Like, apparently the options market is so big that it is actually the dominant part of the the active trading.
Yeah.
And with a 12% down move, like you'd expect massive options movement. So interesting that that ratio didn't move at all.
Yeah, no, it was 20%. I think both markets got to about 20% down at the peak.
Yeah.
Well, I think it'll be pretty quiet for the next couple of weeks.
Well, I guess that leads to the final part. What's your call for next week? Mr. 8 from 8, is it? Or 8 in a row, is it?
7 in a row.
7, okay.
I think I lodged. I said bullish for 3 weeks. I'm just going to I'm going to pare that back a little bit. I will go bullish again this week. I think we'll eke out a gain, and I think it'll be sideways to higher, but not much higher. Is my general call.
So I've been on a pretty bad streak, so I'll go the opposite. Don't know why, but bearish, and I'm thinking non-farm triggers it tonight.
Yeah, the only reason I'm not saying that is because I don't want the viewers to think that I'm a broken record, because I've said I think I've said before every Payrolls we haven't had a negative one since December 2020. So I thought I'd give that a rest this month. So you're probably right. Kai?
I'm probably in the same boat as you. I reckon there'd be a small gain. I think people just dawdle around for a bit until there's actually something that comes out to push it the other way. But I don't really see this market falling away massively.
Yeah, it's supermarket brawl is the next catalyst, I reckon. Supermarket brawl for sure.
It's got to be somewhere in the south as well. Like,
oh yeah, no, and it'll be some heavy set bloke or woman, and there'll be some guy will get cleaned up. So, that's almost if that happens, I am applying for my Gypsy Fortune teller card. I swear to God. So, that wraps it up. Quite enjoyable to have a calmish week this week. So,
exactly.
And boys, we'll. There's no public holidays. No, we're all good. I think next week we'll be back to regular
another
programming.
Full week next week.
Another full week. Oh God, the young blokes will need a huge rest. All right, thank you very much. Catch you later.
Thanks, guys.